a memoir about love, betrayal, and the painful lessons of loyalty. What you're about to hear is raw, unfiltered, and real. These are the life lessons of a man who loved too long and what it cost to grow from it. Chapter 1, Lancaster Beginnings. Narrate Jordan's early life in Lancaster. Highlight lessons learned in camp and move to Hollywood. Emphasize the theme. A wise man adapts to situations. Include dialogue between Jordan and his brother. Chapter 2, Tammy. Introduce Tammy and her mother, Ms. Rebecca. Describe the first love, moving in, and learning about compromise. Include dialogue, the first meeting, awkward moments, and growing connection. Narration tip. Slow pacing for emotional impact. Warm tone for love scenes. Chapter 3, Sarah enters. Introduce Sarah, her mother Karen, and brothers Bobby and Joe. Focus on initial chemistry, first conflicts, and lessons about trust. Include inner thoughts of Jordan for teaching moments. Dialogue with Sarah about boundaries, respect, and intentions. Chapter 4, New Environment. Jordan's family moves to Upland. Challenges and growing responsibilities. Highlight struggles, parenting lessons, and financial growth. Reflective tone. Love alone isn't enough, growth is essential. Chapter 5, Being Homeless with Hope. Jordan faces eviction, finds his own space, builds independence, emphasize resilience and taking control of life. Include dialogue with his mother, motivational and tough love guidance. Chapter 6, Red Flags and Realizations. Discuss betrayals, family tensions, and observing unhealthy patterns. Include Jordan's reflections on relationships, boundaries, and self-growth. Tone, serious, reflective, teaching. Chapter 7, New Independence. Jordan secures his own spot, protects his kids, and learns about respect. Include confrontations with extended family in Sarah's household. Narration tip. Slightly faster pacing during conflict, slower during reflection. Chapter 8, Sarah's Independence. Sarah moves out, family pressures, Jordan's internal conflict. Focus on themes. Sometimes love means letting go. Protect your heart, honor yourself, and never sacrifice your This is The Man Who Stayed Too Long. Written by Polo da Hassel Mac. Quietly. Jordan didn't chase love because he was empty. He chased it because he was hurting. The first woman he truly loved didn't leave in flames of betrayal. She left slowly. Distance replaced closeness. Silence replaced effort. They grew apart, and by the time Jordan realized it, love had already packed its bags. He stayed too long. When it ended, life unraveled fast. Jordan was young, stubborn, grieving, and convinced he could handle anything. Trouble was he couldn't. His parents put him out during a period when he needed guidance the most. That's when Tammy showed up. Chapter 2, Tammy, Miss Rebecca, and Temporary Shelter. Tammy was a childhood friend. For me, it's safe. She had her own place. And her mother, Miss Rebecca, ran her home with structure and warmth. Jordan moved in thinking it was short-term. A month passed. The air shifted. Comfort turned into tension. What once felt supportive began to feel forced. Jordan sensed it and left before it turned into something worse. He ran back to his parents only to find they had moved. Hollywood was gone. The Valley was next. Chapter 3, Van Nuys and the Hustle. Van Nuys was unfamiliar territory, but Jordan walked in 10 toes down. He had nothing, no money, no clothes, no safety net, but he carried himself like a man who belonged wherever he stood. 3 pairs of drawers, a phone, a reputation. He played basketball in parking lots. He rebuilt connections. He moved work from old neighborhoods into new ones. Slowly, people learned his name. Yet even as he found himself, something was missing. Jordan wanted companionship. That's when a voice changed everything. Chapter 4, Sarah. Sarah came into Jordan's life unexpectedly but permanently. Their first conversation was playful, confident, reckless. Jordan said things without thinking, words that would echo years later. Still, Sarah showed up, literally. His mother answered the door and walked Sarah to his room, unaware that this was their first time meeting. Jordan woke up in pajamas, confused and curious. Brown skin, soft demeanor, quiet strength. It felt like destiny. And just like that, Sarah became more than a moment. Chapter 5, Baby Daddy Energy and Red Flags. Jordan learned quickly that Sarah came with history of baby daddy who didn't know boundaries. Threats came through phones. Disrespect followed conversations. Pride flared. Jordan wasn't scared, but he was aware. He tried to be mature. He tried to be understanding. He even suggested Sarah keep her child close instead of leaning on family systems that benefited from her struggle. She heard him, but she didn't absorb it. Jordan saw red flags but ignored them, believing love could heal what awareness already warned him about. Chapter 6, The Inland Empire Shift. When Jordan's parents moved to Upland, it felt like a blessing. Bigger home, pool, new beginning. They welcomed Sarah fully. His mother joked about marriage. His father respected Jordan's choices. It felt real. Raish. His father respected Jordan's choices. It felt real. It felt solid. Then struggle arrived. Money was tight. Sarah got pregnant. Jordan took on responsibility fast. He loved harder through hardship, believing love could survive anything. But while Jordan was building a family, Sarah was searching for opportunity. They weren't aligned. Chapter 7. Loss, accidents, and family betrayal. Jordan was hit by a semi-truck on the freeway. Life stopped. Work ended. Stress multiplied. Then family politics turned ugly. The house belonged to his aunt, not his parents, and Jordan's independence became a problem for people who believed ownership meant control. He was put out again with a baby on the way. Another aunt-to-hood auntie everyone loved open hoodos. Jordan moved in with Sarah, their newborn, and his stepson. At first, it worked. Then betrayal crept back in. Chapter 8. East Side Lessons. Jordan protected Sarah at all costs. When someone disrespected his sister, Jordan handled it immediately. No hesitation. Yet Sarah still moved differently. Sneaky energy. Emotional distance. Excuses. She left. No closure. No accountability. She went back to her mother, Karen back to Bobby and Joe. Jordan stayed behind, confused, hurt, but still hopeful. Chapter 9. Roxanne. When Jordan finally chose himself, he stayed home and healed. He poured into his growth. Then Roxanne appeared not in person, but through conversation. She listened. She asked how he felt. She gave attention without obligation. Nothing physical happened, but the connection reminded Jordan of something he'd forgotten and what it felt like to be seen. Still, Sarah remained tethered to him, calling when she needed help, pulling him back emotionally without offering stability. Jordan began to see the truth. Chapter 10. Love isn't enough. Jordan got his own place. Sarah eventually lost hers. When everyone else disappeared, Jordan stood up again. He gave her somewhere to live. He showed unconditional love, hoping this time she would grow. For a moment, it worked. But Sarah didn't change. She competed instead of partnered. She resisted leadership. She promised growth but never followed through. She talked about independence but never moved. She blocked Jordan from moving on but refused to move forward with him. Love without growth became a prison. Jordan realized something painful. You cannot build with someone who refuses to mature. You cannot save someone who doesn't want to rise. So Jordan did the hardest thing he'd ever done. He disappeared. Not out of hate, not out of anger, but out of self. Because the strongest men know when staying costs more than leaving. BN. Thank you for listening to Pull It Out Hessel Mac. I didn't write this story to complain about love. I wrote it to document what happens when a man stays longer than he should because he believes loyalty can fix what immaturity refuses to face. This isn't about one woman. It's about a pattern. I learned that love isn't supposed to confuse you. If you're constantly wondering where you stand, you're not standing anywhere solid. Real love brings clarity. Chaos isn't passion, it's misalignment. I also learned that unconditional love only works when both people are growing. When one person evolves and the other stays comfortable, love turns into labor. And labor without rest becomes resentment. Red flags don't disappear. They multiply. What you excuse early becomes the very thing that breaks you later. Intuition always knows before logic catches up. I ignored mine because I thought patience was strength. It is but only when it's mutual. You can't build with someone who's still competing with you. A relationship isn't a rivalry. When your partner sees independence as power instead of partnership as power, the foundation is already cracked. Family trauma plays a bigger role than people admit. When someone is still carrying their family's weight, wounds, and responsibilities, they often don't have room for a partner. Alone, you can't save someone who's still trying to save everyone else. Boundaries aren't control, they're protection. If asking for respect makes someone angry, it means they were benefiting from the lack of structure. Peace isn't something you negotiate for in a healthy relationship. Love should feel safe, not like a test. Not like surveillance. Not like constant accusation. Trust is quiet. Toxicity is loud. I watched material progress happen without emotional growth. Jobs changed. Cars changed. Houses changed. But behavior didn't. Motion isn't growth. Growth requires accountability. The hardest lesson was this. Staying too long can break you. Loyalty becomes dangerous when it costs you your identity. Sometimes the most masculine decision isn't to fight hard or it's to walk away and rebuild yourself in silence. Love alone will never save a relationship. It needs respect, emotional maturity, shared vision, and sacrifice on both sides. So, the core of the story is simple. If someone truly loves you, they won't make you prove your worth, compete for peace, or beg them to grow. They'll protect the bond, not test it. And if they can't do that, the lesson isn't to stay and suffer. The lesson is to leave and become whole. That's not bitterness. That's wisdom earned the hard way.